Good day. As of the time of making of this video, there is some information that Ever Given, the giant container ship which ran aground blocking the Suez Canal, is starting to shift, with some hope that this sorry saga might slowly be ending. It is to be devoutly hoped that this is the case. Firstly, it seems that around 300 ships, cargo ships, are now also jammed in the Suez Canal, unable to move because of the blockage that the Ever Given is causing. Secondly, it seems that at least some of these ships are carrying livestock, which is enduring appalling conditions as a result of the fact that these ships are unable to move. Thirdly, this episode has exposed and highlighted again the critical importance of the Suez Canal to world trade, and lastly, we see from this the importance and vulnerability of global supply chains to the modern economy, which has obviously increased as a result of globalization. So the ending of this blockage in the Suez Canal is essential and important for all sorts of reasons, economic and humanitarian. However, what is perhaps attracting rather less attention is that there have been increasing steps in the last few years to provide an alternative to the Suez Canal route, and that is the Northern Sea route along Russia's northern coasts via the Arctic Ocean. This has been a topic which has been discussed for a very long time. The Russians first floated the idea of a Northern Sea route way back in the 1930s. And over time, they gradually took steps to try to develop and enhance the Northern Sea route. And over the last few years, this has been bearing fruit. Moreover, the last few days, entirely coincidentally with the incident in the Suez Canal, have shown a major Russian show of force in the Arctic, which has attracted less attention than perhaps it should. The Russian admiral, Nikolai Yevmenov, the commander-in-chief of the Russian Navy, reported on the show of force to President Putin on March 22nd, 2021. And here are some of the comments that he made to Putin as they have been reported on the Kremlin's websites. The following tasks have been fulfilled for the first time in the history of the Russian Navy. 3 atomic missile-carrying submarines arrived on schedule within a region with a radius of 300 meters after breaking through 1.5 meter thick ice under an integrated plan. 2 MiG-31 fighter aircraft flew into the polar region, including mid-air refueling, during which they passed over the geographical North Pole in 2 directions. We practiced torpedo firing from a nuclear-powered submarine under the ice. After the training torpedo stopped beneath the ice, it was located with technical equipment and retrieved to the surface. An Arctic motorized rifle brigade unit conducted a tactical exercise in unfamiliar terrain in adverse weather conditions, whilst it was detached from its main base. As a result, the weapons, the military and special equipment proved out their technical specifications in the high latitudes and low temperatures. The exercises are being carried out as planned. In fact, the last decade and a half have seen a major Russian military build-up in the Arctic, as the Russians have reopened Arctic bases from the leftover from the Soviet era, which closed down in the 1990s, and have repositioned large numbers of troops and equipment and aircraft and ships to this region. There's been some discussion about the development of the Russian surface fleet. In fact, if you study the nature of Russian naval developments and deployments, it becomes very clear that it is largely focused upon the Arctic. Now, the Northern Sea route is only a part of the reason why the Russians are focusing on the Arctic in this way. The Arctic, or so the Russians believe, is a major source of strategic minerals, of oil and gas, of nickel, and of other such products, and these are developing at a high speed and high rate, with large exports of liquefied natural gas from Russia's Arctic to Europe now taking place and accelerating, and with plans by the Russians to export goods and products, raw materials, oil, gas, and all that to China as well. But it is the Northern Sea route that I propose to just comment on briefly in this video. And here we have a useful discussion on the developments in the Northern Sea route by the Russian commentator Anatoly Karlin. And I'm going to quote extensively from what he has written. Despite the challenges of being a gas station that produces no value-added products, Karlin, of course, is being ironic at this point. Russia is in the midst of a nuclear icebreaker construction spree that will make the Northern Sea route navigable for most of the year. The LK-60YA class includes 3 ships, Arktika, Sibir, and Ural, the first of which was commissioned in 2020, with the next 2 to follow this year and in 2022, respectively. There will eventually be 5 of them. This 33,540-ton displacement type ship comes packed with an RTM 200 nuclear generating 60 megawatt of propulsion power reactor that can enabling the ship to travel at 22 knots through clear water and making it capable of breaking through ice of up to 2.6 meters thick. There are plans for a series of even bigger icebreakers called the LK-120YA Leader class, which will have propulsion power of 120 megawatts, will be able to travel at 24 knots in clear water and at 10 to 12 knots in 2 meter thick ice, and which should have enough power to traverse any part of the Arctic Ocean all year round. Even before this, Arctic shipping has been booming. Ports along the Northern Sea route have seen a quadrupling of cargo since 2003, from 26.4 million tonnes in 2003 to 104.8 million tonnes by 2019. It slipped to 96 million tonnes last year due to the pandemic. They now handle as much cargo every year as the entire Baltics, which have stagnated for more than a decade. Northern Sea route freight routes began in the 1930s and reached a peak of 6.6 million tonnes of cargo transported in 1987, then declined to 1.5 million tonnes a year in the 1990s. In the past decade, though, they began a rapid recovery, reaching 4 million tonnes by 2014, 10 million tonnes in 2017, 20 million tonnes in 2018, 30 million tonnes by 2019, and 31.5 million tonnes in 2020. This represents a five-fold increase over peak Soviet rates, and unlike in the Soviet era, these are done under market conditions, i.e., we know they are profitable. Putin has set the goal of increasing this further to 80 million tons by 2025 and 120 million tons by 2030. The most striking increase has been in Northern Sea Route transits, i.e. complete passages from Europe to East Asia. The overall volumes remain low. The rate of increase has been astronomical, albeit with some sharp year-to-year variation. Though these began in the Soviet era, volumes were low at no more than a couple of dozen ships carrying 200,000 tons per year. After a false start in the early 2010s, there were 62 ships that made the journey in 2020, carrying 1.28 million tons of cargo. This is still only marginally above 0.1% of what passes through the Suez Canal, but given the much shorter distances, 35% or 5,000 kilometers less, and the absence of congestion issues, it is clearly the much more preferable option if the sea ice problem could be solved. With global warming and a new generation of nuclear icebreakers, that is likely to happen. So another way of looking at it is that there is huge scope for growth here. There is no reason why we shouldn't see multiple increases in Northern Sea Route shipping up to the point of matching and even exceeding traffic along the Suez-Malacca route. Now, I should say it's not just the Russians who are, of course, interested in developing the Northern Sea Route. China is also, for obvious reasons, and I would add that the Chinese are building nuclear-powered icebreakers of their own, undoubtedly in cooperation and collaboration with the Russians, as they too are showing an interest in developing the Northern Sea Route. I understand the Koreans, the South Koreans, are also, and it's not unlikely, in fact it is highly likely, that before long the Japanese will join in also. The Europeans presumably will be less keen, but the Asians look enthusiastic about this project, or at least those Asians who are aware of it. Now, this is all still very much in its early stages, but the Ever Given episode shows the extent to which the Suez Canal now faces serious congestion issues. Given that the northern route is shorter, that those congestion issues don't apply, and given the large icebreaker fleets which are being built, it seems to me only a matter of time before much of the carry trade that goes on between the Asia-Pacific region and Europe will move away from the Suez Canal and the Straits of Malacca and will move northward. This, of course, will also have important geopolitical consequences in the future as Russia becomes more important in international trade than it has ever been at any point in its history. What those geopolitical consequences will mean for the long term, we will have to wait and see, but it is striking that yet again the Europeans seem entirely oblivious to the implications of them. As for the United States, it is indeed becoming increasingly concerned about the growth of Russian power and Russian reach in the Arctic. However, US attempts so far to compete directly with the Russians in the Arctic seem to be sporadic and ill thought through, and by contrast with the Russians, the US icebreaker fleet appears to be in poor shape, with no nuclear-powered icebreakers in sight or in service. So we will see to what extent these developments play out. But I'm going to make a guess, as somebody who has had experience of shipping, as all Greeks have to a greater or lesser extent, and who's spoken to ship owners at various times, that we shall be seeing in the future more ship owners starting to direct their ships northward in order to cut down on traffic times, on travel times, and to avoid possible congestion, with the Ever Given episode being a lesson to them on the importance of doing so. Thank you for joining me for this video. I look forward to you joining me in future videos, both on this channel and in future and in our other channels, including our main channel, the Duran, where I do programs with my colleague and friend Alex Christoforou. Please also join us or look up Alex's own channel and the channel where we show you our interactions with our viewers on our live streams. Please also look us up on our platforms, our various other platforms, BitChute, Library, Rumble, and especially Odyssey. Please also, to the extent that you can and feel interested, support us through PayPal, Patreon, and Subscribe Star. Remember, we do accept donations in the various new currencies that have been appearing, including incidentally Bitcoin. And last but not least, check out our Discord server and our Discord server and our shop, and see the wonderful things that we have there. Our exceptional magic mugs, our t-shirts, our hats, our hoodies, and our sweatshirts. And I look forward to you joining me in future programs on this channel. Thank you.